The difference between ads that spend 1K a month and 1K a day are so small and tiny that most beginners wouldn't even notice it. Like the difference between good and perfect is what drives 95% of the results, but actually is 5% of the unnoticeable work, right? So it's really the difference between just really good and absolutely perfect. And so you should push forward and actually keep going, because that's the reason why you likely aren't making money yet, right? It's easy to get really good at something, but it's very, very hard to become one of the best, and actually very hard to become perfect at it. You just have to be perfect about everything, and you have to be a minimalist. That's what I've seen is a very common trait across the most successful people in ecom. And when it comes to making ads, people tend to focus a little bit too much on like the aesthetics, right? So fast pacing, text placement, and all these things. But what actually matters, what actually drives the most results and what actually makes a good ad are the direct response elements at the end of the day that your ad includes, right? So these are curiosity, simplicity, target demo, like actually calling out the target demographic, the visual hook, what people see in the first 3 seconds, objection handling, authority, social proof, and so on. And so all these elements have to be on point. And obviously the text placement, the aesthetic of the whole thing, that's already expected. That's nothing special, and it's not enough if you only have that down. If you want to run a successful dropshipping store, basically you need to nail 2 things: your offer and your ads. That's literally it. Like, you need nothing more than those 2 things. So hence, the thing that you should be putting your most amount of time and effort on is testing as much as possible within those things, right? So testing as many offers as possible and as many creatives as possible. That's how you really nail the model. Now, split testing offers is quite literally what takes most stores from a couple sales a day to extremely profitable couple $1,000s a day. And it's really just split testing an offer and just finding out which offer makes you more revenue per visitor. And you keep split testing and keep never being satisfied with your results. So stop like overstressing your media, your GIFs, your pictures, even your copy at the end of the day, but especially the stuff like your colors of your add to cart button or stuff like that. They don't matter. Like, it's really, if I can only put in all my time and effort and everything and energy into one variable on my store, on my website, it is going to be the offer, right? And it's like, always have that picture of Alex Ramosi in mind where he kind of talks about the value equation, right? It's like dream outcome, perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay, effort, and sacrifice, right? And you have to absolutely like live all these things. You have to remind yourself constantly when crafting offers. And then at the end of the day, just split testing, A/B testing, looking what works better. And this is what kind of no one talks about, but this is the most powerful thing that you can do on your store, and not the color of your add to cart button or the size of your logo. Sometimes when I talk to people and they want to move on to a different product, and I kind of ask them, okay, how many offers have you tested? They say 2, right? And then I ask them, okay, well, how many creatives have you tested? And then they say like 10. And it doesn't work like that. Everyone has a hit rate for their creatives. But the problem is, for like complete beginners, the hit rate is so unbelievably low that they just can't find out what it is, right? So if it's like 0.1%, then you have to test 1,000 creatives until one of them hits, right? So it's like so low that most people don't have it, don't know it, but everyone has one. Like, you watching this video, you have a hit rate, you just don't know it yet. So if you're a beginner, you have no leverage, all you have basically is time, and your hit rate is extremely low, then the best shot that you have is just doing 1,000 times more than what skilled people do. Because work, like outputs, are volume times leverage. And if you don't have leverage, then you beat competitors by volume. It's by doing absolutely more than everyone else, okay? So it's like the only shot that you have is just putting in more time and more reps and just 1,000xing the inputs to get the output. Because if your hit rate is lower, hence, obviously, you just need to do more to have the same results. Trust me, your expectations are completely off right now. Well, like when I'm saying you can test the product with 100 creatives and you can test that 3 times a week, you'd probably think, what if I said you could test the product like that with 200 creatives every single day? Because you can. And most people don't want to admit this, but it is possible. And you should be doing more than what everyone tells you, all right? You should be even doing more than what I tell you, right? So everything that you watch on YouTube, it's just their perspective, right? And this is what I say in this video, right? All of my videos basically is just what I know, what I experienced. But if you have a different experience, then so be it. And if you need to do more to get the results, then do more to get the results, right? Don't just blindly follow someone that you've never even met. It's just not the way to go, honestly. So to pretty much improve your skills in every single area in business and in general in like life everywhere, you just need two things: consistency, which is showing up every single day, and optimization, which is small improvements every single day. So I'm a big fan, a big believer of 1% improvements every single day, like optimization basically, and like basically James Clear describes it in his book, Atomic Habits. It's a very good book. You should read it right now. And the thing is, most people complain that it doesn't work after 6 months, but like you've been learning Spanish or French in school for the last 4 years and you can barely say 2 sentences, right? So like expectations are off, So try 6 years instead of 6 months and then complain it's too hard. Like I try to look at it in a way of like I do everything 1,000 times before even complaining that it's too hard. And then if you do it 1,000 times, I'm sure it's not going to be that hard anymore. Like imagine this, you test 1,000 products. Do you think you're not going to be having $1 million in revenue on your dashboards? Do you think if you test 1,000 creatives, you don't have one, like a really, really good winning ads in your account? Do you really think that if you split tested 1,000 offers against each other, you wouldn't have one that made you like $6 a visitor? I don't think so. I think you would. Okay. And so reset your expectations. That's the main takeaway of this video. You can do so much more than what you expected. It's just volume. More. Most people that don't make money, in my opinion, have a volume problem. Outsourcing is huge. So when the first time that I kind of made the decision to let someone else make the creatives for me, I, for the entire day, basically didn't think about creatives. I forgot about them, right? I had so much other stuff to do. And then for the first time that I actually just got a text message like, here's a 20 ads, right? And I was like, what? Like creatives, and they were actually good. Like there were 20 solid creatives. And someone else just did them for me. And this is like an aha moment. But obviously looking back, right? Of course, outsourcing, this is how every business works, like employees, but this was like a first eye-opening moment for me when like, okay, I can literally have some other people do the stuff for me and I can focus my effort and time and everything on completely other stuff. And so use what you have. You absolutely do not have to get started on your own. You do not have to make it on your own. There are no rules. Promise, trust me, if one thing I've learned in my 2 years in this business model, it's that there are no rules. No one makes rules. Trust me, you can do whatever you want. And the more creative you are, the better you are at the core skills, the fundamentals, the more money you will make. Right? Doesn't matter what niche you sell to, doesn't matter what product you sell, right? It doesn't matter how your marketing approach looks like, whether it's organic, whether it's paid ad, and within paid ads, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, native ads, it can be everything, but everything works. Everything works. It's not about the strategy. It's never the system. It's always you. And one kind of approach that I really love and that I've actually been executing for the past year or so is actually turning products into winners by a process called iterative media buying, right? It's a process where you basically have creatives in the first round of creative testing that are supposed to be good enough, and then you launch them. And then what happens is you get some feedback. Obviously, you're not going to be profitable yet. You're not going to have very good results yet. But what you do is like you check out, okay, where have I gotten the most resonance from? For example, you could take a look at the hook rates and check out every single soft metric and then actually just see, okay, well, if I get this, right, from this ad right here, for example, a good hook, then I can just take that hook, make 10 new bodies, 10 new call to actions each, have 100 new variations already, right, for that hook. Second round of creative test, I launch all these 100 creatives. Now, obviously 100 is a lot, but again, expectations are only in your head. Like you're limiting yourself. Your limiting beliefs are holding you back. And so let's say round 2, you have an ad which actually got you sales, profitable sales. Now, let's say it's not really scalable yet. It's like a 1.8, 1.9 ROAS, so it's barely profitable, but it's already something, which is good. Obviously, overall, you're still completely unprofitable, but you have something which is kind of working. So you take that concept and you change up, again, 100 different things. You could change up, make it longer, make it shorter. You could kind of change the direct response elements of like absolutely just basically positioning yourself more as the brand that's selling it to increase conversion rate. But at the same time, you can't do that too much because that's also going to increase the click prices. So you have to just make the variations. And then let's say creative test round 3, you find like 5 ads that are profitable. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And like, even if it takes you 15 creative tests for the same product, you can turn any product into a winner by just iterating your ads. And 80% of my time when I make new ads goes to already proven concepts, and only 20% of my testing budget and time that I put in editing actually just goes to the new concepts that I really have in mind that I want to test. And yes, you're right, in the long run, new ad concepts will actually keep accounts healthy and keep accounts alive. But to be very honest with you, most ad accounts that I've run have mainly been living, like most winners that have really worked for me have mainly been living off of 2 to 3 winning ads in total. Of course, like a bunch of different variations, but 2 to 3 concepts total. You don't need much more than that, right? To reach a couple $1,000s a day in sales, you just need to basically check out the market sophistication. What level of sophistication is your market in right now? What access channel can you go to, right? Can you have a successful market entry in? And then you just test iteratively until this stuff is profitable. And don't just throw something at a wall and see what sticks, because I promise you that approach is dead, has been dead for a long period of time. Because I promise you that approach has been dead for a long period of time. One more thing which I kind of wanted to mention is most people are not aware of what scaling really means. And I'm sure you've seen this before, maybe even you've heard me talking about this before. Basically, there's this concept of the awareness stages, right? So there's 5 different levels. There's 5 different levels of customer awareness. Basically, most aware, product aware, solution aware, problem aware, unaware. And the more unaware the prospect kind of gets, the more people are in that audience usually, right? So most aware is very easy to convert because they already know everything of you. They already made the purchasing decision pretty much. You just need to remind them that you're alive and then they buy from you, right? So that's like most aware. But there's very few people in a most aware audience. So the next step is going from most aware to product aware, which is people that have already, for example, decided that they want to buy, that how they want to solve their problem, but they're just comparing you to different competitors selling the same product. That's product aware. And then you go step by step until you're at unaware people. So how do you now go about really scaling? Well, scaling truly only means spending more money. And then the natural question that comes with that is, where do you spend that money on? Right? Because it's not just easy to say, okay, well, I'm going to spend this amount of money on this ad, and then, let's see if it works or not, because it's not going to work. Your ROAS is going to break. Okay. So what scaling really means is more creative. You got to have more and better winning ads. More in terms of, okay, same awareness stage, different ad concept, but better would be a more unaware audience. And so how can you do this? Now, let's say you launched your store in the product aware niche, right? People there for your price specifically already know how they're going to solve their problems, but they're just comparing a bunch of different offers, a bunch of different prices for the same product. Cool. Let's say you launch, and let's say it works. Let's say it pops, right? You have a winner. Now, what you got to do, the next step for you basically is not to just go ahead and make a million product aware ads so that you hope something sticks again and you can scale, but you move it on to solution aware. You try to convert solution aware people, which are people who already know their problem. They know that they're going to solve it, but they're comparing different solutions, different products to each other. And if you make ads that are able to speak to those people and people resonate with that ad concept of yours, then you will be able to scale so much further than if you just had 5 product aware winning ads. And then problem aware, right? People only know that they have a problem, but nothing else. And then unaware, people don't even know that they have a problem. And so scaling is just moving down awareness stages until you're at completely unaware people. Right? And that is what scaling truly is. Scaling doesn't just mean increasing the money that you spend on ad set A or CBOB, right? It doesn't work like that. That's not what scaling truly is in its essence. And I think if you keep these things in mind and then actually try to kind of then go ahead and start actually launching your project, launching your brand, and also scaling, then I think you will not only have the better mindset of things, right? If you approach it the right way, but also just really have a smoother process of making everything plannable, looking at the metrics and the numbers at all times, because they do tell you everything, and you can't lose if you follow this process. You cannot lose. You either win or you learn, because if you learn, obviously you have the data of, okay, this type of concept for this type of product does not work. Cool, let me test another one, right? Or you win. Obviously, when you win, you make money. And I think, like I said, if you follow this process, if you keep sticking to it, keep improving your skill sets and all these things, because it takes long time to actually do, then you cannot lose.